What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Nicholas Tyler Blackwater, discursivstudios.com. It's late. It's past my bedtime. I got other things to do in the morning, but you know what? You never let a good outfit go to waste. We're going to do this. We're going to get into this. And got some exciting things for you. Been a bit of a lull lately with the Discursive Studios content, if you will, but going through massive changes in my life. Pretty hard stuff. Hard, crazy, deep dive into my past, into who I am as a man, who I was as a child, perhaps. I'm pushing 40 years old. I feel that only recently now have I become a man, if you will. And this is just the beginning. It's great. So what I want to talk to you about today is the choice. So as far as the 5 steps of the Choose Empowered Agency kind of course goes, first and foremost, you got to make the choice. So making a choice to serve something greater than yourself, really going towards more of a self-denial, humble, and service towards others kind of bent. So even the notions of what it means to make the choice. And there's lots of things that get in the way of you making that choice. So that still remains the same. So that's like distractions, addictions, perhaps trauma, things like that, fear, whatever's kind of holding you back, self-limiting beliefs, things of that nature. That has not changed. But the overall framework of how we're going to push forward in a humble way. And now you might you might think that all this stuff here is not very humble, but I dress in such a way as formality. It's formality. It's style. It's not fashion. I don't have logos on me to discern whether I'm wearing like Gucci or Prada or anything like that. It is not to embolden myself or ingratiate myself or to show off. I simply like to dress like this, and I have a lot of fun messing around with colors and things like that. Something we ought to get into as well, the sartorial arts, which I think are timeless and classic 1920s menswear and things like that. If you want to learn more about that, go check out the Gentleman's Gazette. I poured over, many hours of their things, and there's other things as well, in which men can start to dress more appropriately and for all occasions, rather than sweatpants and shorts and t-shirts and all that crap. And I mean, even some of that can be very expensive simply because they slap that name brand on there, and then you walk around in your black and white whatever and looking very nondescript and just like everybody else, right? Black and white, for whatever reason, is the predominant go-to kind of color and look these days. But the more black clothes I see, the more I just get depressed, especially in this town. It's a very rainy kind of city and whatnot. And so people just go that way. And I think it's a reflection of your inner state. I'm no saint or anything like that, but definitely I want to express myself in more colorful ways, pleasing to the eye, and all of that. So yes, humility, humbleness. I'm expressing some of my shortcomings. I'm not out here, claiming to be a saint or anything like that. Lord willing, maybe but that's not ever something that you actually pursue. And if you claim that you're some kind of saint, or you're some kind of guru, or I'm too good for that, that's beyond me, then or that's below me, then I'm afraid you've fallen out of empowered agency. Empowered agency, oddly enough, is very self-denying. Self-denying, humility, humble yourself, humble, 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 humble. Put yourself down on the ground. Put yourself down in the mud and such. I probably wouldn't have the strength to actually put myself down in the ground in the mud. So there you go. That's where I draw the line. I'm not going to mess up all my clothes and whatnot, but you ought to. All these worldly things and things that are just going to bring you down, whether it's your looks, whether it's your money, whether it's all these possessions and everything like that. Ultimately, everything that you see before you, including how I dress, is for you. It's for my purpose. It's for my mission. My mission is to help people, to bring them together, to get you healthy, to get you all svelte, to get you all jacked up. Well, maybe not jacked up, but like feeling good and like not super weak and infirm and like not confident. This isn't like a gym bro thing. This isn't a bro thing. Again, there's going to be our Western views of what power is, empowered agency is very skewed. Empowered agency, to have agency, to not be a slave to your impulses, to not be a slave to your material things like that. So we're getting a little off topic here, but I think these are very important things, and some things to wrap your head around. And it might be difficult moving forward and things like that, but exciting things. I am feeling very good. It's fantastic. We're getting back on the saddle, and Lord willing, we're going to push through, and we're going to get you right. We're going to get you out there, and we're all going to come together. I need your help just as much as you need my help. You know what I mean? Like, I need help. No man, no woman, no group, no city can do this by themselves. But this isn't like a call for everybody to be one glob, some kind of global glob. No, you're an individual. You have your own strengths. You have your own uniqueness. And I don't want to discredit that. In fact, I want to make it blossom. I want to make it bloom into something great. So that's what we're getting at. Empowered agency, sitting in yourself and not falling into, all these other trends. Because it even goes back to the clothing that everybody wears, because they all look the same. They're all acting the same. They don't want to say anything that might make them look foolish and things like that. They don't speak from the heart. They're not genuine. They're not empowered. They're not practicing their agency because they're falling into some kind of trap, if you will, some kind of social trap where they're terrified to express themselves or get out of their shells or anything like that. So that's getting ahead of it, choosing that, and that there's a lot involved in that. And you could spend an entire lifetime just trying to work that out. What the heck is holding you back? And how might you get over it? It's very, very tough. And, I thought I had things figured out to quite a large extent. But I've done a lot of good work since then. We might get into that. I haven't actually developed any content around that, but I believe there is some pieces in there of my own personal experience which we could use in order to help you. So today, thanks for that rambling session. We're going to get into a weekly workout plan. All right, so let's get into this, and here we go. Okay, so weekly workout plan. We want to keep this as simple as possible. You can get very much into the details of everything and get bogged down. Just right off the hop, I would definitely stress form over function, tight core, straight back, don't do anything too weird, throw your back out, push yourself too fast. So this gets us into the introduction, which is safety. Safety. This is the number one priority. If you're not doing anything safely and you hurt yourself, guess what? You're out of the game. You got to spend a few weeks, maybe even months recovering, or guess what? It could be life altering injuries, and you will never be able to perform as you did before, which is very sad. But saying that now, even if you do, you still have options. We're not in the game of being like, oh, you only have value if you could bench 350 pounds and, do all this crazy martial arts and whatnot and acrobatics and whatnot. No, if you're paraplegic or whatever, you still got options. You still have empowered agency. This is what I'm getting at here. This isn't gym bro, top level athletic Olympic performance. This is just expressing the body, trying to get as fit as you can without pushing yourself, without hurting yourself. And if you need to, consult the doctor and all of that. But generally, just if you play it real safe, then you shouldn't have to worry about that. So listen to your body. It's essential for safety and injury prevention. Ease into your routine and progressively work your way up. All right. So this, we're going to be talking about bands. We're going to be talking about weighted exercises and calisthenics. So if things start getting a little bit too easy for you, like you've been going for a couple hours and you're not breaking a sweat, it's probably time you consider to increase the resistance and maybe the leverage. For instance, if you're doing like bent over rows and you're doing like dozens of these things, maybe consider going halfway up and go down and then back up. Halfway up and then back down and go back up. So you have that little half rep of resistance still in there, programmed into the workout. None of this is really mentioned in here. There's lots of finer details that you could get into. You could spend hours, months, years, your entire life just in the fitness zone trying to dial all that in. And that's fantastic, but we don't really want to get bogged down too much. We want to keep it as simple as possible. So we'll move forward. As I mentioned, form. Engage core, straight back. These are general kind of things, knees over toes and all that kind of stuff. Really protect your body. We're in it for the long run, right? We're in it for the long run. Protect your joints. If you're doing massive amounts of reps with heavy weights and things like that, as I said, you're going to be damaging yourself and it could be lifelong and there's no kind of coming back. But sometimes there is coming back, and we'll get to that at the end of today's session, which is the good news, friends. So be safe. As soon as your form starts to go, generally you're done, right? As soon as you're like flopping around and like trying to get your body and everything like that, it's really no bueno. You want like nice and slow and just concentrated, isolated movements. You're thinking, you're breathing. Interesting to kind of experiment with just breathing through your nose, and timing. That was a bit backwards, but timing your movements to your breath. There's some studies to suggest that you have more oxygen going to your muscles should you breathe through your nose. And not to mention nitrous oxide, which is a vasodilator. Nitrous oxide, you get that kind of through the nose, and which is one of the key ingredients in erectile dysfunction pills. So boys, fellas, get breathing through that nose if you haven't already. I know there's some guys are, oh, I'm already doing that. Oh, well, good for you. Fantastic. And lifelong health to you, brother. And for everybody that's not doing that, please, I implore you to kind of look into that. Again, these are all cursory kind of things. We want to get moving. We want to get going. And if you're interested in kind of delving more into these things, there's lots of information. So take down some notes. I'm going to be firing off things that aren't included into these little spreadsheets that I got available for you today. And then you're going to have to circle back, pick what works for you, delve into that. Don't get bogged down too much. As I said, we want to keep things flowing. We want to keep things moving. We want to keep things easy and fun. So once your form starts to go, again, you're pretty much done skis, and then you move on to something else. So we mix it up between like upper body and lower body. So while your upper body is pretty much cashed out, then you move on to your lower body. And once that's cashed out, then you go back to your upper, and you could throw in some like core exercises into there. Core is one of those amazing things, and we'll get to that. Nice. So the weekly layout plan, again, these are suggestions. There's going to be all kinds of people with, different ways of, approaching these things, and it's endless. It's honestly endless, and it's almost nauseating just to. Everybody's got their own opinions. Everybody's got their own little gym bro or science guy or whatever. So this is just little tidbits that I picked up along the way. Basically, that one of the things that I picked up is that working out once a week is good. Twice is great. 3 times is pretty good. And then once the 4 times a week, especially if it's strength training, because strength training and endurance training with cardiovascular training, they activate different hormones, and they could actually counteract each other if there's not at least like a 3 to 6 hour window at least like a day. Give yourself a day window in between cardiovascular workouts. You don't want to do resistance training, strength training, and such like that, and then immediately jump into cardiovascular workouts. It has something to do with mTOR hormones and something along those lines. So they will actually counteract one another, and you might at the end of the month go like, what the heck, bro? Where's my gains? Where are my gains at? Well, you got to do these things smart, and that's why I have it kind of laid out as such. So consider this, friends. Monday to Wednesday, strength and balance. So balance means kind of 2 things, balance being, actually working on balance, things like that. I think that's great. And you wonder why balance? Why would I want to balance? Well, so you don't fall. So as we get older, too, one of the leading causes of kind of early mortality would be falling. And research suggests that those with really robust thighs seem to live longer. And the theory is because they could stand upright better. And so if you have this really strong foundation of balance programmed into you at your young age, because as soon as you leave your 20s, it becomes increasingly harder to sustain all these things. I'm pushing 40, and you know what? I feel this is the best I've ever felt, really, honestly. And so if I had done this in my teens up until my mid 20s, so that's kind of like the sweet spot almost, working at your late teens into your 20s, then you could really build up all of your muscle mass, your skeletal density, and the fat ratio, which we'll get to in a little minute. So, yes, we're going to be mixing it up with resistance training, upper body, lower body, push exercises, pull exercises. You could also do push exercises with your legs and pull exercises with your legs as well. And core, again, that's one of those special things where you could do that every day. You're not going to burn out your core, it's going to recover. It's one of those remarkable things. So, yeah, if you want to program a quick 7 minute kind of core exercise, that's one of the things I like to dabble with the Athlean X. And yes, I'm aware that there is some controversy with some use of fake weights. I'm not too sure because whatever program that I use, and I apply proper technique and I use it to my body and I listen to my body, that's my program. Whatever program somebody is doing out there and I do it, it's different when you yourself do it and you apply, proper form, proper technique, and you're very honest with your body. And I'm always shocked just how little it takes to gas myself out. But that's the thing. So you're gassed out. So take a breath, keep going, keep pushing, come back the next day. Next thing you are operating like these studs and these fitness girls or whatever. And so, you could do the core all the time. So Thursday, we're going to give ourselves a break. And so that's one of the cool things too, that it's very negligible to work out 7 days a week. So we don't have to spend our whole entire lives working out and whatnot. But you know what? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I work 5, 6 times a week. And then, I do a couple days of cardiovascular things and it really mixes things up. And that's fantastic. But for your own edification, it's good to know that you don't have to kill yourself day in, day out in order to get results, in order to really enjoy your body and to get safely from one point to the other. That's essentially what I want to do, is for you to get safely from one point to another without hurting yourself, without hurting others or anything like that. You could go out in the wilderness, you could go on hikes, you could play with your kids, you could get out of a big vehicle safely. Like if you work with heavy equipment and you got to be climbing around and whatnot, this might even save your life. You got to keep on top of that. I see way too many guys, way too many people out there not taking care of themselves. And when they get hurt pretty hard. So that's not what I'm here for. This is not your, below 10% body fat, absolutely shredded. You got a 10 pack. You got just like 20-inch biceps and things like that. That's not exactly what I'm going for. But yeah, we should shoot for some strength just so we could get around safely and just so we could feel good and things like that, right? Manage our cortisol, feel confident, feel good, enjoy moving around, creation, right? Okay, so Friday to Saturday, this is where we're going to enhance speed and stamina. So speed and stamina, quick muscle or fast twitch muscle fibers, things like that, and your VO2 max. So your breathing and your heart rate, the max you could get it, we want to push it there. It's good for you to know that, but if you haven't really done a lot of hardcore kind of cardiovascular exercises, maybe just reserve the VO2 max for later. And but definitely get yourself up into a zone, between 120, 140 beats a minute is a very, very general kind of thing. Again, there's so many needs out there. There's so many body types out there. There's so many preferences and goals that I am speaking in generalities here, friends. Whatever you need to do, whatever you need to figure out, I would do that. But I would be mindful of your heart rate. And you can get gizmos and gadgets and things like that. But hey, if you got a clock and you just count your heartbeat, boom. Okay, so you could just do it. You don't have to give your money up to Bezos or Amazon or whatever or Apple. You could literally just count your own heartbeat and I don't know, just enjoy it from there. And but yeah, get that up there. You're not going to get a lot of benefits from walking. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it just doesn't really change you metabolically walking and whatnot. It's not going to get that intensity in you to improve your cardiovascular system or to offer you strength. Maybe if you're carrying like 50 kilograms on your back or something like that, you might get some benefits from that. But yes, that said, if you're just really out of shape, you find yourself like on the couch or lying down for like several hours at a time, anything over 4 hours is extremely devastating to your health, actually. So if you find yourself just sitting for more than 4 hours, get up every hour, get up every half hour. Maybe consider just not consuming so much content and movies and things like that. Yeah, but there's options, right? Get up, have a glass of water, walk around a little bit, stretch. Static stretching, again, that's not one of those things that really impact health, unless it's under resistance, so weight and things like that. So, but if you're just starting out, that's what's going to do it. If you really need to, you can't walk or you can't run a mile in 10 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah, go around the block, go walk, walk your dog or whatever. Stretch a little bit. Maybe just get some light weights to start out with, like 10 pounds. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that whatsoever. There's some wonderful exercises that you could do with light weights, especially if you're using different leverages and things like that and not using strong kind of leverage points. And then you're just like straight arm like this. And like, yeah, that'll get quite taxing with even a low amount of weight and things like that. And you could use implements, like I got sandbags that are holding the lights around here and things like that, and a couple more downstairs. I like to use those for thrusters and things like that, getting down. And so there's lots of things that you could do, guys. And there's things you could do without equipment as well. So proceed cautiously if you're not used to exercise. Yes, so Sunday, yes, the Lord's Day, we're going to take a rest. We're going to take a rest. We're going to turn to more spiritual things perhaps and to more public works. That's kind of what we're getting at here. It's not just a man unto itself. Of course, you could use all of these different things simply for your own gain. But at the end of the day, we're going to want to get out in the public. We're going to want to turn to our family. We're going to want to turn to our friends. We're going to want to turn to our community and help them out. We're all jacked up now. We're all ready to go. So we're here to serve. We're here to help. We're not just here to get all jacked by ourselves and look at ourselves in the mirror by ourselves. Okay, so Sunday, the day of rest. So if you need to adjust this according to whatever schedule that you have, then that's fine. These are just general outlines. But yeah, 3 days of working out, rest, 2 days of cardiovascular, and then rest once again. And so that's 5 days of the week. 3 days of kind of fun. I like the strength training. I think more people would be more inclined inclined to do the strength training and whatnot, because the cardiovascular stuff can be quite intense, quite intense. And that's why it's important to have all these rest days and whatnot. And we'll get into the rest. So I already mentioned the rest. Yes, that's important. But yeah, not just rest days, but your rest, your quality of sleep each and every single day. That is so important. You know, it's not just giving yourself a day of rest, but the quality of your sleep. That's also kind of what I mean by rest. And this should be followed up with copious amounts of protein. So people are suggesting, you know, upwards of a gram per body weight of protein. So I'm 160 pounds. You know, I could get up to 167. It fluctuates like 5 pounds, and that's totally natural. But yeah, so like 160 grams of protein is kind of what I aim for. And then, you know, I was corrected by a bro, and, you know, maybe that's not entirely necessary. And so these things change all the time because knowledge is provisional. Let's say that one more time. Knowledge is provisional. It gets used up, we get more, we use up more. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything anymore, and on and on and on and on and on and on it goes. Point is, you're probably not getting enough protein, especially as you're getting older. You're going to want more because, as I said, as you get older, your muscle mass and your protein mass, your bone density becomes harder to actually sustain. So you'll want more protein, and you'll want to lift heavier as you get older. Heavier as what you can handle, I mean. You know, so as you get older, you might think like, oh, I'm going to take it easy and go lighter. But no, if anything, you just want to maintain where it's at, and that's the heavier. I'm not saying, you know, like bench 450 pounds like you did in high school or something like that when you're 65, but definitely try to push it. And because your body is in the process of deteriorating, and we're all on our way out, friends. So we just want to grow old gracefully and things like that. And so yeah, we'll just get into a little bit of a workout example now. So every single time, no matter what exercise or what you're doing, you're going to want to have to warm up. So warming up entails getting a little bit of a sweat on. As soon as you start getting a little bit of sweat, you're warmed up. You want to elevate your heart rate. You want to get the blood flowing. You want to warm up your joints and things like that. So there's a number of warm-ups on YouTube, online, that you can get into. Anything over 10 minutes is probably not necessary. You know, you could spend like a half an hour. Some people say, oh, I got to spend like half an hour to get all those things going and whatnot. Yeah, okay. We're going to focus on 10 minutes. So look for a 10-minute warm-up, full body, kind of get everything going. Then you're going to hop into it, and you're going to do like a upper body kind of pull exercise. So that's just lifting things, maybe get like a water jug or anything heavy, things like that. Maybe get a backpack, fill it with books, things like that. Do some bent over rows, do some pull exercises, you see. And now it's going to be the same mechanics, just different angles and things like that. So you can use equipment. We're going to be talking about equipment. There's bands, there's dumbbells, there are adjustable dumbbells, there's barbells, there's machines, things like that. So timed, there's this interesting concept. I'm going to be talking both a little bit about reps and time, but time is an interesting concept. Rather than going for reps and things like that, you're just going to go for an extended period of time. So a pull upper body exercise followed by a pull lower body exercise. So this could be like a, what do they call that? The hip flexor, and then followed by a push upper body. So now you could do some like push-ups. So push up, push upper body, and then core exercise, 1 to 2 exercises a minute each. Okay, give yourself a little bit of a rest. And then we're going to do the second set of a push upper body. A different one this time. Maybe do some dips. Maybe get on the couch or something like that. And then just do some rudimentary dips. You could do all of this with equipment, right? And if need be, go to the gym, right? Because spend the money. Stop buying Cheetos all week. Cancel the Netflix and get a gym membership, right? Get a gym membership, and then you have all the equipment. You have all the options you need. Some gyms are better than others, and there's some weird contracts and things like that. And I currently don't have a gym membership, but when I did have a gym membership, because I invested on like various little pieces of equipment that I have at home now, so I work out at home, which is very cool, very convenient and whatnot. And I largely form my workouts around the athletic truth group exercises because of my knee. I had a terrible knee injury through jiu-jitsu, and it took me several years to actually get it back, but I got it back. I got it back, boys and girls. I'm loving it. I'm so thankful to Knees Over Toes Guy, Athletic Truth Group, and I'm getting out in the wilderness now. I'm doing all the things that I love. I could run, I could sprint, I could jump, I could do all those good things. And yeah, wow, glory to God that I could actually do all those things. So you're going to do push upper body and then pull lower body. So pull lower body, that's right. So what we're doing here, friends, is that we're mixing it up. We're actually keeping our body confused. So we're mixing it up between upper body push, lower body pull. And while we're doing that too, we're actually giving the maximum amount of time for our muscles to recover while still working out. Just because our upper body is like toast and we can't really do anything anymore doesn't mean that we can't do it on our lower body. And then changing the mechanics between pull and push also activates different muscle groups, so we could keep going, we could keep moving, and really push our body. And then end everything with core exercises, 1 to 3 minutes, 1 minute each. So what we're looking at here is about 15 minutes of working out, right? So if you do this 3 times, this is called the superset. So you're doing supersets, and then you're hopping around all over and whatnot, and that's fine. At the end of the day, this is just an outline to give you an idea of really mixing it up between push and pull. Athlean X has a wonderful way of actually just programming that in, and really smart way of going about it. And I'm sure you could find dozens and dozens of other workout videos on YouTube and things like that with emphasis on upper body, lower body, push pull, full kind of body workouts. I think that's great. Not really super much into like curling. Just one of the more rudimentary pieces of equipment that you could get is a pull-up bar that you could put in your doorway. I think that's great. That's one of the most intense, really simple, kind of out of the way, lightweight, relatively cost-effective thing that you could do for your fitness journey is to get a pull-up bar. And so if you're new to it, just do all that once. Keep it nice and light. Keep it nice and easy. And if you find yourself doing dozens and dozens of whatever curls, do more compound exercises too that incorporate more movement of the entire body rather than just isolating certain muscle groups for like the beach body. We're not really going for beach bodies. We're going for, function. Not that, beach bodies don't function or anything like that, but, we're not looking to be all jacked. We're looking to be strong and mobile and fit and just go anywhere and not really, find ourselves twisting around and doing something and then hurting ourselves because we're not used to moving and we're just going in rote kind of robotic motions. We want to emulate life because we don't know how we're going to move. We don't know which kind of situations that we're going to get into. So we want to prepare our body as best as we can for all those type of situations. All right, great. So again, this just kind of lists everything of listening to your body, and it's more or less the outline of what I had prepared for you guys. And I already said this, but it ought to be said again. Listen to your body. Okay? You got friends, you got family, you got coworkers, you got employers. You might be the employer, right? So don't hurt yourself. Don't do anything silly. Warm up before you do anything, which should be like a dynamic movement and things like that. Static stretching, kind of stay away from that. Walking and things like that, stay away from that. Try to do more things aligned with like yoga or running in place or more dynamic kind of movements. But ease into your routine, please, and gradually work things up. And if you just trust the process and not really expect to get all jacked in 2 weeks or anything like that, then you're going to love the process. This is a lifelong process. In 2 weeks, you're going to feel better already. You might not look like, Jean-Claude Van Damme or, I don't know, I'm showing my age here. I don't know who's jacked these days. I don't think many people are jacked these days, to be honest. You're not going to look all jacked, but you're going to feel better. And looking jacked really is diet related. It's not working out related. You really got to deny yourself and drink like chalky protein powder drinks and like really lean chicken and broccoli and rice. That's literally how you do it. You just have straight up protein powder and water, chicken and rice and broccoli, and you're going to look jacked because your body fat's going to go down. It's going to go around the 14% to 10% mark, 10% and lower. You're going to look shredded, and often those guys are using like steroids and things like that. So, yeah, if that's that's what you're going into, that there's nothing against anything that I'm presenting here, that says that you shouldn't do that. So we're just going to go over again different details, more finer details of day 1 to 3 of strength and balance. So strength benefits, muscle mass. It's connected to brain health. So not a lot of people talk about this actually. Is that we were just talking about getting all jacked and looking great for that beach body and whatnot. But there's also great benefits for the mind, for the brain, when it comes to working out. So all you eggheads out there and all you academics out there, give that a thought. You might look down on some gym bros, which is not good. And I'll just hearken back to, humbling yourself. I'm down here and I'm looking up and I'm thinking, how can I help you? Right? How can I help you? Right? Not me. It's kind of you. Self-denial, humility, humbleness, and service. Okay? These are divine attributes. This isn't gym bro attributes or anything like that. This isn't like red pill, alpha male, giga chad kind of stuff that I'm sharing here with you. It's more along the lines of family and honor and service. Okay? So anyhow, brain health and cortisol kind of regulation. So if you do this first thing in the morning, cortisol actually is a good hormone. But if it's not kept in check, obviously you're going to be stressed out, you're going to be angry, you're going to be agitated all the time. But cortisol wakes you up first thing in the morning. It's one of those hormones that actually wakes you up. So if you work out first thing in the morning, you're going to kind of flush that out, and you're not going to, suffer or whatever from the benefits of having that cortisol wake you up because you want to wake up. And benefits aside, physical ones. So yeah, not just physical. Again, this isn't, Mr. Olympia. We're not out there looking super jacked. I've said this many times. Don't worry, please. Just get stronger, feel better, and that'll be great. People are going to notice that in you. You're going to carry yourself a little better. You're going to move around a little better, a little safer, things like that. So stay humble, be patient, trust the process, and embrace your journey, right? So I got up to, decent levels of fitness in my life, and then I would fall out of it. And then I would start again, and I'd be like, whoa, I'm already sweating, but that's the journey, and I enjoy that, right? I'm just like, wow, it doesn't take much for you to fall out of fitness as well. So it's a matter of maintaining everything like that. And if you fall out of it, that's fine. But really, really try to stay consistent, and you're going to reap the benefits of this, no doubt. So bone density. So the more we increase the bone density, the more we increase the resistance, we're going to increase bone density. And guess what? When you get older, you're going to have less fractures. You're going to have less life-threatening kind of injuries. So yeah, bless all the aged and those that fall and break their hip. And quite often when that happens, their health declines quite rapidly. So, as I said before, the sweet spot is like your late teens to mid 20s. You could really accelerate the muscle mass and the bone density. And as a natural side effect, along with nutrition, you're going to regulate your fat content. And so on to that, the fat ratio connected to diet, and I got here, is not about appearance. Okay, so I'm not fat shaming anybody or anything like that. It's just that if you're obese, the health risks are basically astronomical, and I'm gonna just say that one of the leading causes of early mortality is cardiovascular related, and it's quite often related to health and overeating and such, and the fat that's surrounding your liver and whatnot. So there's different types of fat within our body, and the fat that surrounds organs and stuff, it's basically suffocating your organs, and you're not going to feel right, you're not going to look right, you're not going to feel that confidence or anything like that. But yeah, the whole confidence, the looking good and all that crap, and all the Photoshop babes, right? That we've been inundated, like these absolutely just unattainable forms and whatnot. It was in magazines quite a bit to begin with, and they were all photoshopped. They weren't even real bodies. So it wasn't even next to reality. But yeah, certainly our natural form is svelte, right? It's just how we ought to be. And if it's anything outside of that, you have a problem with your choices. You have a problem with impulse control. Impulses, habits can get out of hand. With me, I definitely have my impulses with like cocos and, my yogurts. I put some fruit on there, and then I'll sprinkle some honey and some like molasses on there. And just like, sometimes I can't help myself. Really got over all the candy. Now, several years ago, maybe even 4 or 5 years ago, that was a different case. I would go through a tub of candy. So that's how bad it was. I grew up, oh, I got a sweet tooth and whatnot, but it's a pathology, it's an addiction. And so I got over that and still kind of suffer the consequences. I was probably very close to being diabetic and everything like that. So impulse control, things like that, choices, what kind of choices are you making? And are they for the benefit of your health? So it's not about appearance. I'm afraid not. It's a sickness. And I don't like people seeing them suffer from it, and they're gone way too soon, right? So resistance training, we have weighted, bands, and calisthenics. Right. So weighted, we got barbells. That's great. I wouldn't mind myself a nice rack and some barbells one of these days, but that takes up quite a lot of space and it's quite expensive. But yep, I like going to the gym. I really got into just researching all of that at one point, and it's super cool. All of the barbells that you could get, I think the barbell alone is like 50 pounds or whatever, right? And then or 45 pounds, and then you put your 45-pound plates on there. So there's different types of plates that you could get, and so just like anything, like people that are into cars and all the finer details into that. So gym equipment is no different. You could get really cheap stuff and just get up and running. You might be disappointed with the quality and things like that. Or you can just really splurge out and get top quality things. And of course, that's going to take up a lot of money. It's going to take up a lot of space, but it could be a lifelong investment. And you could do everything from the comfort of your home. But that said, we'll get to that. I'll give you the secret in just a little second here. Yeah. So racks, this is costly. Barbells, plates, racks, accessories, things like that. It's a solid advanced option. So you could really, this is where you're getting up to like the 400 pounds and things like that, and really strongman level kind of things. That's what they're messing around with. They got the bar on their shoulders and the steel is bending. I rarely get up to body weight and things like that. Because of my knee, I was getting up to body weight and above and things like that, 160 pounds, whatever, throwing that around. But then my knee started to get tweaked out. So I had to adjust my my program to my body, my needs. And I enjoy it. I love it. I could keep up with people. And that's where I'm at. And so now I'm starting to push that. Now I want to get stronger. Now I want to build off of that because my knee can finally keep up. So dumbbells offer free movement. So now you could, if you're doing kind of chest things of that nature, you could really start to go down. Whereas the barbell, you're kind of stopped right at your chest, but then you could lower the dumbbells even further and offer free movement, things like that. Maybe go on your Roman chair and do things like that. Roman chair just is your thighs and your midsection is sitting on there, and then you could hinge like that. One of the cool exercises that I do, and it's like 15 pounds weights, right? And you're extended like this. So again, you don't need to do crazy massive amounts of weight to benefit from working out with dumbbells and barbells and things like that. So adjustable dumbbells are cool. That's what I got downstairs. And they take time to adjust, and they can be a little bit bulky, so they can restrict the movement, but otherwise just a great option. There's also, like kettlebells, things like that, CrossFit kind of sandbags or whatever they use, and all kinds of things. You could just get into all kinds of things. Again, I'm just going through very basic outline things. Basically, what I got downstairs is like super rudimentary bench with barbell. It's not the 45-pound nice barbell either. It's just like this piece of steel and these really janky kind of 25-pound plates. So altogether, I could probably get 180 pounds on that. And I don't think I've ever done that. I think recently I've done like 130-pound RDLs or something like that. So again, I'm working up there. I'm taking my time. I'm in no rush. I'm not lying to myself. I'm not fooling myself. I'm having good form, things like that, nice, slow, and controlled, and I'm building up from there. All right. So machines offer less free movement, so you're going to be on tracks and things like that, unless it's a cable. So cables can offer you more movement and things like that. Really cool in different angles. So bands and body weight. Bands offer consistent resistance or continuous resistance, whether you're going up or down. Because like when you're releasing, gravity actually helps you out. But with the bands, you're always under resistance, so that's very cool. And it could be light, or it could be nearly as intense as the barbells and the weighted exercises. So calisthenics, very cool. These are exercises you don't even need equipment. Maybe like a pull-up bar. That's probably one of the main things that you need for a calisthenic kind of workout regimen rather, and you can build up high endurance through high repetition, minimal equipment needed, and for all skills. So yoga is good for like clarity of mind. You're really locked into your body. You're contorting into different areas. You're building strength and massaging even like your insides and things like that. So that's a really good option. Interesting story. Oh, I'll get to that actually in a minute. So full body strength for the joints and connection to the breath, really connecting your movements to your breath and building more mindfulness out of that. So balance not only entails equilibrium in the body, as we said. If you're more balanced and upright and things like that, you're going to fall and you're going to have less accidents. But also balance in the sense of just balancing out left, right, up, upper body, lower body, anterior chain and posterior chain, balancing everything throughout the body just to give you the best benefits and the best chance at not getting injured. Because like I said, you never know what you're gonna pick some tool up, or you're gonna jiggle something over here, and you got to reach over, and it's really awkward. There's like a railing right here, in my job. There's just things that we got to do, and there's steel, and everything's like at least like 15 pounds up to 30 pounds, maybe up to like 40, 50 pounds, right? And you're doing weird things, and you don't want to tweak your back or do anything like that. So well-rounded, kind of balanced fitness throughout the body is suggested. So that's about it. So here we go. Here's the great secret. Gyms are the best way to get the benefits from all these things. So like I said, stop buying all those Cheetos. Don't buy any of that junk food, any of that sugar. We're going to get to that nutrition, all that in a bit, in a bit. Stick to the protein, stick to the veggies, a little bit of carbs, and that's about it. And of course you could splurge a little bit here and there, have some burgers and your fries and whatnot, but in moderation. You're going to save yourself money. You're going to save yourself health and life. You're going to save your life by doing these things, working out, staying humble, enjoying the process, being really comfortable with where you are, and just enjoying the journey, right? You don't need to be Arnold, Schwarzenegger, just like super jacked and these broad shoulders and whatnot. And that might come, I think people have different genetics as well. And some people are just naturally broader shoulder and big and bulky and whatnot. So just enjoy the journey for wherever you're at. Think of these things, look into it. What do you need to do? The fitness is fine and all, but before you even start that, just think about getting good rest. 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours, that's kind of the sweet spot, right? Sometimes I could get away with 5 hours and 6 hours, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But you're going to impact your health with anything less than 7 hours, whether you realize it or not. Oh, I'm fine, but who was it, Matt Walker? He found evidence to suggest that there is nobody that is not affected by 5 hours and 6 hours of sleep, whether or not you feel good or not, right? So there's nobody that's actually not affected by that. Get some good rest, start eating right, work out, right? That's the order of things when it comes to it. Working out and living well starts with a good rest. Then you work out, then you start eating right, focusing on protein first and foremost, up to a gram per your ideal body weight. So say if you're like 300 pounds or something like that, it's not really necessary for you to eat 300 grams of protein. So if you're 300 pounds and your ideal body weight is 220 pounds or so, maybe even less than that, aim for that. And as it's been brought to my attention through one of my friends, one of my coworkers, it's actually not necessary to have that much. I probably have about 75% to 80% of my body weight. I aim for 160 grams, but I probably get on average, like 120 to 140 grams of protein each day, and I feel pretty good. And on that note, when I began my fitness journey in earnest, several years ago, I found my muscles, they were stiff, really stiff for like weeks. And I think the problem with that was that I wasn't having enough protein. So your body is made out of proteins. So it needs all those building blocks to kind of piece everything together. And that's part of your macronutrients and higher fat content. So good fats, things like that, like avocados, oils. This is going to make you feel satiated as well. The more protein that you have and the more nice fats that you have, like I said, avocado and olive oil, those are probably the best, just to jump in right away. Again, you could get into all the finer details and start getting into ketogenic diets and things like that and supplements. Keep it super simple, guys, okay? Whole foods. If you find yourself a package and you can't recognize all the ingredients on there, just pass it up. Don't even touch it. And if you pick something up, it's got like 3 or 4 ingredients, maybe 5 ingredients, then that's probably good. You could recognize it, like, salt, butter, whatever, things like that. That's great. So up the fats, the good fats, like I said, olive oil and avocado. Just jump into that, get some protein in you, and fruits and veggies, and then grains. Basically, flip over everything that we've been taught. Anyways, I've been taught growing up. Like lots of grains and a little bit of meat and whatnot. But in reality, we need lots of protein and a little bit of grains and things like that. Great, guys. It's been so fun. We've been going over, we've been going about an hour here. So it's past my bedtime. As usual, there's just so much to say, so much to do, so many details. I tried to boil it down as best as I could for you to get you kind of started, to get you thinking about fitness and not to overthink it, and to enjoy the journey and just to start picking up some weights. Just enjoy your body, really get nice full movement of your joints and things like that without injuring yourself, of course. So listen to your body, scour the internet for what works for you, and then stick to it. And you're going to love it. And all your friends and family are going to love it too. They're going to look at you. They're going to be like, wow, you got lots of energy. You move around so gracefully and with such strength. I want that too, friend. And so, yeah, we'll be covering more things with the Choose Empowered Agency course. Lots of exciting things for the choice end of things. I'm really excited about that choice, the addictions and being of service and self-denial and humility. These are great things that I'm implementing on myself. And I feel I'm really growing more as a person and connecting to people and lowering myself to even the beggar on the street, right? Just lower yourself below that person. Think, what can I do? And what have I done? Right? Rather than being like, ooh, what are all these folks doing? Right? Think like, what am I doing? And what have I done? And what shortcomings do I have? And focus on that and just really, really be gritty and honest about that. And then change, right? If you do have all these shortcomings and you just fully admit it and maybe even share it with people, right? Because if you just trap all those things inside, it's not going to work out well for you. So, yeah, that's part of the choice, making choices, what holds our choice back. The priming of the body, that's the rest, nutrition, or the sleep, nutrition, and fitness end of things. And then we'll get into the cognitions, kind of like, who are you and what makes you tick? What the heck do you want? What kind of gifts do you have to offer? And then you develop that offer. So that could be in like a business sense or in whatever sense that you want. Often you start out with things for free. So you put all these things together and then you offer it for free. One of the best things to do to offer things is to write it down, maybe make some videos, or just get out into the public and just do it, right? Try to find some like-minded people, try to rent a hall, start talking to people, offer some soup or some tea or whatever, and just start talking and getting together and collaborate. So collaborate throughout the community. And this is an art, this is a skill. It's by means of developing trust. So if people don't trust you, they don't know you, they're not going to work with you. So developing that trust, building out those networks, it's a super disruptive kind of way of looking at things, right? And I want to use the minimal amount of equipment. That's why I bought all this equipment, is so you don't have to buy all this equipment, so we can all kind of figure it out together and then pool all of our resources. Because I don't want to, just offer you another course. I don't want to have you buy another app or anything like that. I just want to give all this out. I want to figure it out. Sure, I'm probably going to, get a little something along the way, and that's great. That's not really the point. That's not really what I'm getting at here. I want us all to kind of just deny ourselves and serve one another and really put each other before ourselves. And then we're going to have this really kind of cool network of more or less family, right? I think we're just very atomistic in our society today, and we're all crabs in a bucket. And we're stepping over our own friends, we're stepping over our own families just to get ahead for the almighty dollar, right? And that's kind of what we worship these days, is ourselves and money and things like that. And I think we could see that society is kind of really going down the tubes. More people are getting anxiety, depression, and chronic anxiety and depression leads to psychiatric kind of things, right? So we're in an epidemic, or we're in just a very nasty spot in humanity. So all of these things is actually quite the remedy for that, for grief and trauma. There is no silver bullet for that, aside from just having a regular routine, working out, eating, and staying connected to friends and family, right? And so what methods can we use to get all our thoughts together, offer something to the world, help each other out, things like that? and choosing empowered agency. That's what it's all about in a nutshell. So I thank you so much. Think about working out. Think about all those things I said. Humble yourself and enjoy the ride. Thank you so much. God bless.